Well, that was certainly a crazy weekend in the Premier League. Goals galore, red cards, penalties, VAR. In this video, I have a quick look back at all the action. Hello, my name is Richard and welcome back to my channel over and over and over again, which features everything to do with Arsenal. In this video, I'm not really featuring Arsenal so much. I'm just going to do my weekly review of the weekend Premier League action. Just before I get into all that, I just want to make sure you are subscribing to my channel. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up as well. Please click on the subscribe button just to help me grow the channel. That would be much appreciated. So this weekend Premier League, where do we begin really? I mean, it was goals galore, there was VAR, there was penalties, there was red cards. Pretty much everything that could makes us love football really happened over this weekend, didn't it? If we start from the beginning, I guess the first game, of course, was at Goodison, the Saturday lunchtime game, Everton against West Brom. The game kind of went to the form book, didn't it? With Everton ended up winning 5-2, but there was a lot more to the game than just that. I mean, 7 goals is enough anyway, isn't it? But West Brom actually took the lead. It was that young lad, Dean Garner, of course, the one who caused all that controversy when West Ham sold him to West Brom a few weeks ago. He gave West Brom the lead, but Everton had turned it around before half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, of course, one of my fantasy league players, ended up scoring a hat-trick in this game, which was great. James Rodriguez scored his first goal in English football as well. And just before half-time, former Arsenal left-back Kieran Gibbs got himself sent off, stupidly pushing Rodriguez in the face after an altercation. With the referee, Mike Dean, you're not going to get away with anything like that, are you? The red card came, and also as well, Dean then gave a red card to West Brom manager Slaven Bilic as the teams went off at half-time. West Brom did briefly equalise in the second half, a great free kick from Costa Pereira. But Everton ran out comfortable winners in the end. Michael Keane got a tap in to restore their lead before Calvert-Lewin got 2 more to complete his first ever hat-trick and get me lots of fantasy league points, which I was extremely grateful for. Great start to the weekend for me on that side of things. The 3 o'clock game on Saturday was at Ellen Road. It was Leeds' first home game in the Premier League for 16 years. Having lost 4-3 at Anfield in their first game, they won 4-3 this time. So 14 goals in their first 2 games. The first time one club has had that many goals in their opening 2 top-flight games in English football since 1962. They should have really won a little bit more comfortably. They were 4-1 up in the second half. 2 goals from Helder Costa, a penalty and a goal from Bamford, his second goal in consecutive games as well for him. Fulham had earlier scored a penalty from Mitrovic. They then got two goals in the second half from Reed and another one from Mitrovic to make it 4-3. And I wouldn't say Leeds were holding on, but they certainly need to defend better, don't they, if they're going to stay up this season. They're great to watch, score some goals. They play open football, but a little bit too open. And unfortunately, that could be their downfall. So we'll see what happens then. But they're certainly the entertainers of the league so far, aren't they? And they're definitely the team to watch. The early evening game on Saturday at Old Trafford, of course, Manchester United opened their season, of course, having not played the previous week because of their involvement in European football in August. They played Crystal Palace, of course. Crystal Palace had won at Old Trafford last season and they repeated the trick again. They played really well, Palace, actually. They do play well away from home. Their counter-attacking style is good to watch as well. They led at half-time. It was Andros Townsend, great goal, finished to a great move. But all the controversy, of course, was around about 20 minutes to go when Crystal Palace were given a penalty, a VAR decision for a handball against Lindelof. Ayew's sort of chip ball from, I mean, he was right next to him and it kind of hit him up on the shoulder, didn't it? But it was given as handball. I think if that had been given as a penalty against your club, you'd be annoyed, wouldn't you? Let's be honest. But because it was Manchester United, there's not going to be a lot of sympathy for them, especially after all the 150 penalties they were given last season. So what comes around goes around, I guess. And then, of course, just to rub salt into their wounds, Ayew's penalty was saved by David De Gea. But again, VAR decided that it needed to be retaken because De Gea had slightly moved off his line. And it was Wilfried Zaha who scored the retaken penalty. It does seem as though that new rule about goalkeepers moving is going to make it almost impossible for a goalkeeper to save a penalty this season. But I suppose at least it's going to mean there might be more goals. Man United did pull a goal back, a debut goal for Donny van der Beek, of course their new signing from Ajax. But Crystal Palace still the win. Late goal, Wilfried Zaha again, good finish actually, cutting inside Lindelof and firing it into the bottom corner. That's his third goal of the season already. He's had a great start to the season, and there is rumours today I'm hearing that Arsenal might be getting him on loan for the season. I'm not necessarily sure that that's the area of the pitch that we need to strengthen, but he's a great player. It'd be great to see him at Arsenal, and I'm sure he'll have a good season. And of course, he's made it no secret that he's an Arsenal fan as well. So that could be a good deal to happen. But let's look out for that over the next few days. Of course, the Saturday evening game was at the Emirates, wasn't it? Our fortunate winner against West Ham. I've already gone into that game already on this channel, so I'm not going to mention too much about that. Just really to say that, obviously we got away with that handball with Gabriel, didn't we? Which to me looked a lot more clear cut than the Manchester United one. For me, neither of them should have been penalties, but it just goes to show, doesn't it? One was given, one wasn't. VAR supposed to have stopped all that, and it clearly hasn't. But we got away with it, so I'm quite happy. And we did get away with a win as well, didn't we? To make it 2 wins out of 2. If we thought all the drama and all the goals were on Saturday, then we were very much mistaken, wasn't we? Because the games on Sunday were just as dramatic, wasn't they? And just as goal-filled as well. It started straight away with the early game down at St Mary's, Southampton against Tottenham. Of course, we were hoping for a big Southampton win. And it started quite well for them. Danny Ings, another player in my fantasy team, gave Southampton the lead. But then they decided to stop defending completely. And they allowed Heung-min Son to score 4 goals. Harry Kane, who had set up all 4, then scored the 5th one. Of course, we all as Arsenal fans would have missed out on all those points in the fantasy team because no Arsenal fan in their right mind would have any Tottenham player in their team, especially those two. So unfortunately we've missed out on lots of points there, but it's one of those things. I'm quite glad I did miss out on the points, especially when Danny Ings then scored a penalty, his second goal of the game, which kind of made up for it anyway. For me, another player in my team got me 2 goals, so I was delighted about that. Just a shame Southampton were so bad, really. The second game on Sunday, so it was quite a shock result actually up at Newcastle. The visitors were Brighton. I was expecting Newcastle to win this game actually after their great start at West Ham last week. But Brighton actually played really well. They were given a boost actually by being gifted 2 goals in the first 10 minutes. It was our old friend Mopé who scored them both. The first one was a penalty. Probably a clear penalty, which he then scored. And then the second goal, Mopé scored it again. It was originally ruled out for offside, but VAR overruled that. It looked a very tight decision, but it's probably the right one. And it was 2-0. Brighton actually could have gone on and won this game 5 or 6-0 if we're honest. They hit the woodwork a couple of times. They did get a third goal from Connolly in the second half, but I don't know what was wrong with Newcastle. They were dreadful. One of the poorest performances I've seen in the Premier League for a long time actually. They were absolutely awful. They need to sort it out quite quickly because they'd had a bright start as well, so not really sure what's going on there. But it finished Newcastle 0, Brighton 3. Bit of a shock result, that one. Then of course we had what was billed as the game of the weekend, Chelsea at home to Liverpool. As it turned out, it wasn't a game of the weekend at all, was it? It was actually quite a disappointing game overall. The first half was very tight, wasn't it? There wasn't much in it, not really any chances. But of course it all turned in it just before half time when Christensen was sent off for his rugby tackle on Sadio Mane. Originally it was only given as a yellow card, but the referee, credit to him, went over and looked at the screen, upgraded it to a red card. And what I liked about it is, and what I've liked so far this season is, the referees are going over to the screen, aren't they? Which they didn't do last season. And you have to say that this was the right decision. It was a professional foul. And of course it did change the game. What it showed as well was that Frank Lampard's naivety really as a tactical coach. You can't play Liverpool with 10 men for 45 minutes and play in the way that they did and expect to get a result. Of course, Sadio Mane got the 2 goals. The second one, a terrible mistake by Kepa in goal for Chelsea, who looks as though he's on his way out. Chelsea maybe had an opportunity to get back in it, actually, didn't they? They got a penalty. It was Jorginho, of course, who took the penalty, but it wasn't a very good penalty, and Alisson saved it. And that was that, really. Liverpool ended up comfortably winning that game 2-0. Of course, we play Liverpool, don't we, in our next Premier League game on Monday night. I haven't seen anything in their 2 games to concern me particularly. They were a bit fortunate to beat Leeds. And had it not been for the red card for Chelsea, who knows what might have happened in that game, because I thought it was quite even up until that point. So, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm sure Liverpool are going to improve as the season goes on. And of course, they did bring on their new signing, Thiago, in midfield, who was quite decent, neat and tidy with the ball, although he did also give away the penalty, let's not forget. So the final game of the weekend was the late one on Sunday night. An unusual Sunday kickoff, I suppose. Leicester were at home to Burnley. I suppose this game was probably the least anticipated of the weekend, but it did produce 6 goals, and it was actually a decent game, wasn't it? Leicester came from behind to win 4-2. Burnley took the lead at Chris Wood, very physical centre forward. He scored a very physical goal, didn't he? Showed too much strength for the Leicester defence to put Burnley ahead, but Leicester turned it around. They were a better team. Harvey Barnes, of course, misses a lot of chances but gets into some great positions. Did score this week. There was an own goal from Peters, and a young defender, Justin, scored his first Premier League goal for Leicester. Burnley played reasonably well considering the injuries that they've got. A first ever goal for James Dunn, the defender, headed in a free kick to make it 3-2, but it was Pratt who scored the 4th goal, the Belgium international, for Leicester to make it 4-2. And Leicester probably deserved to win. Neither team played that well, I didn't think. It was just a nice open game, which was good to watch. It just there seemed to be a bit of a lack of quality from both teams really overall, but it was entertaining at least. So that was a weekend then. I say 39 goals across the 8 games, 6 penalties and 3 red cards. Lots of VAR stuff going on as well. And actually, out of the 16 games that's been played so far in the Premier League over the first 2 weekends, there's actually been 10 away wins and only 6 home wins, and no draws, which is quite surprising. Of course, there's 2 games this evening as well, which I'm sure we'll see maybe a draw there. We've got, of course, Aston Villa playing Sheffield United. I think Aston Villa actually might win this game. Sheffield United got beaten last week at home to Wolves, didn't look that great, and I do feel Aston Villa, I suppose maybe not playing a game, maybe go against them, but I think Aston Villa might nick this. Grealish is in my fantasy team as well, so I'm rather hoping he might get a goal or 2 there. And of course the big game tonight, actually, I'm quite looking forward to that. Wolves against Manchester City. Should be a good open game against Manchester City's first game. Wolves have already played twice, one in the league and one in the League Cup. They should be a little bit more in tune. They played well last week, and of course they did the double over Man City last year, didn't they? I do have 3 Wolves players in my fantasy team as well: Jimenez, Traore, and a goalkeeper, Rui Patricio, as well. So if Wolves want to win and keep a clean sheet, and Jimenez and Traore both want to score, then I would be very grateful to that as well, because I need to make up a few points as well. I've had a decent week, but I still need a few more points. So if you guys want to contribute this evening, that really would be great. So that's that then, weekend 2 of the Premier League season. An exciting weekend. In fact, it's been an exciting start to the season, hasn't it? Whether it's to do with the lack of fans in the ground or whatever it is, I'm not sure. But defending seems to have gone out the window. There seems to be goals flying in right, left and centre, which is good to watch. It's exciting. And let's hope that continues really, because I think over the last few years the Premier League has got quite dull. The title race has been over quite early in the season. There's too many negative tactics have been going on, but so far it's been open football, attacking, exciting stuff, lots and lots of goals, and I've been enjoying it. So I say long may that continue, and of course the fact that we've won both our games as well has made it even better. So that's that video there, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. There'll be more stuff coming on the channel this week as we build up to a big week for Arsenal. A Carabao Cup tie away at Leicester on Wednesday. Of course, a big Premier League game away at Liverpool next Monday. I've got another Positive Arsenal podcast coming up. I might be doing it on the weekend this week because we're not playing till Monday. That'll be looking ahead to the Liverpool game, looking back at the Leicester game, and all the other stuff that's going on. Some transfer rumours as well. I mentioned the Wilfried Zaha loan possibility. There's a few other stuff coming in, outgoing with the club as well. So I'll be anything that is announced, obviously I will do a video on that as well to keep you all informed. And of course that's that for today then. And of course in the meantime, as always, we always finish the same way, don't we? Come on you Gunners!